Hello everybody and welcome to another mystery box function challenge. In the purple box there is some mystery math and your challenge is to figure out what it is. Because it's Friday, this math is even more challenging than usual. If you'd like to try it out, use the link in the description, and when you think you've got an idea, come on back and see if we get the same thing. Okay, let's start with a 0. 0 gives us 0. How about a 1? 1 gives us -2. How about a 2? That's -4, so maybe a linear function. How about a 3? Okay, so we've got what looks like a line here. So it's either a linear function or maybe it's an absolute value function. Um, let's try a little further out. Let's try a 10. I think this will be off the graph, but it's still continuing in that same direction. Okay, so let's try over in the negatives. Let's try a -1. Oh, that's not what I expected. So maybe there's a vertex at 1/2 or -1/2. Let's put in a -1/2 if this is an absolute value function. Oh, okay. Let me try a few more negatives. -2 is also 0. How about a -6? How about a -10? Well, this is a strange one. So I was thinking this was going to be either a line or an absolute value function. It looks to me like it's maybe a piecewise function, though we haven't seen piecewise functions. In piecewise functions, sections of the graph are defined separately. So maybe if x is less than 0, you get x equals 0. And if x is greater than 0, you'd get x equals negative, or y f of x equals negative 2x. But I wonder if there's a way, because I haven't seen a piecewise function in these challenges, I wonder if there's a way to write this as a function. I guess my original thought that this was either linear or absolute value hasn't gone away. The thing this has in common with an absolute value function is it's got this sharp corner here. If we put in a +1/2, yeah, it looks like that's just a sharp corner right there at x equals 0. How could this happen? It's as if somehow we're combining a linear function and an absolute value function. Oh, how would that work? Let me think about this for a second. So on this half of the graph, you've basically got -2x. Let me get my pen here. -2x. And you could think about that as a -x and a -x. Over here, you've got 0, which would mean that if you changed the sign of one of these, then that would always add up to 0. I think that's how it's going on. So let's just try this: a negative x, and then subtract the absolute value of x. Okay, so let's think about what that does over here. So if I put in a 1, a +1, I'm going to get -1 minus the absolute value of 1. So that's -1 minus 1. That's a -2. That's what we get. Over here, if I put in a -1, so -1 minus the absolute value of -1, boy, this is a lot of signs. A -1 is a +1, and then the absolute value of the -1 is 1, so we get 1 minus 1 equals 0, and that's going to hold for every single value. Oh, yes, so if you put in, say, a -6, that'd be a -6 minus the absolute value of -6. So this is going to be a +6. This is going to be a +6. It's 6 minus 6 equals 0. So I think this must be it. Maybe it's written a little differently than this, but I think it's something like this, where you have the -x and then you subtract the absolute value of it. That would get a double negative over here, but coming out to 0 on the left. I think I'm going to risk looking. Yeah, there it is. So -x minus the absolute value of x, and we can graph that. It looks a little bit like an absolute value function, just very strange slopes on our two arms. Well, how did that go for you? I think that was super difficult, but let me know. Thanks, everybody.